Hello and welcome to the Sports Show with Bob Spino, where your two favorite delusional psychotics seem to have nailed the upset pick of UCLA over LSU. Yeah. Now, Bob, would you say you were surprised that UCLA beat LSU last night?
I was about as surprised. I was trying to make a joke and I can't even do it. No, I was not surprised. I mean, look, everybody was commenting, we're clowns, But as Gary Lewis said in his song, Jerry's son, he had a #1 song. Everybody loves a clown, so why don't you? They were telling us we were wrong. But what I was saying was that the 2019 team was gone for LSU. They weren't coming back. The 2020 team was. When I tried to make that point, they were saying, you can't compare the past. And a lot of times that's true. And I was telling them that the same thing. You can't compare the past because you're not as good. One of us had to be right. Guess which one was right? We were. And here's why. Because the one difference is this. All the 2020 players played in that game. And the D stunk last year. They gave up 35 points a game. UCLA scored 35 a game last year. And we had all the same players back. We even had fifth-year seniors and sixth year because of COVID. So we had them all back. So this is different from the past because it's still present because all the teams' players were playing. If you're talking about 2019 or before that, yeah, I agree. And I said that on one of my comments, when I was commenting back, don't root for the jersey. Look at the player who's playing in that jersey now, because they may not be the same team you were rooting for 3-4 years ago. You know what? The players that are playing now played last year when you stunk. That's the difference. That's what they didn't get, Rob. And I knew that UCLA was better. They were blowing smoke. The LSU fans. I knew that we had a great transfer program this year. We had a lot of great kids coming in. I knew our defense very proud last year, even though we were getting better and better, and we have a lot of team speed now. You even had a guy on defense who went to Alabama that transferred over. And I knew that our running game was great last year, and it was going to be better with these young running backs coming in from Duke, Britton Brown, and Charbonnet from Michigan. I knew it. We had good backs last year. We're better now. And our quarterback, who was there last year, is still there. For all you people, 10 of 20, I pointed out that he didn't even play in all spring practice. He went away on leave, actually, a little while. He went on leave. So that Hawaii game was his first game back in a year. He led us, and a lot of people think he's going to be pretty good. And I told you, dual quarterbacks, I'm not a big fan of them, but in college, I can accept it because they do win more in college. They never win in the pros, running quarterbacks. But in college, they do. And so I knew that LSU was set up for failure. I just knew. And it happened. And, the thing I want to say in defense of LSU is now a couple of people got back to us and saying, oh, we're going to have a long year. We're done. No, you're good. You are. Now, are you Alabama good? No. And by the way, that one comment about, Bama might not beat Miami. Yeah, sure. They're going to beat everybody pretty much unless they all get hurt. And the same thing with, it was the same people a week before, don't sleep on Hawaii. Okay. Well, somebody wake me up because I'm still sleeping. What happened in that Hawaii game again?
Just to let you know what did happen, Bob, UCLA beat the spread by 12 points.
Yeah.
I think 12, 11 or 12, something like that.
It was 3. What was 3.5 going in?
No. The Hawaii UCLA spread was 22. Right. I believe you won 43-10 or 44-10?
44-10.
So
that's a
44
plus
to 10. So you plus 12 over the spread.
Right.
in the game that you needed to be about and worried about because you could struggle and might lose.
Right. I'll tell you what Max Robinson is, their quarterback. He's a pretty good one. He's not a great one. Short passes is it. He averaged 12 yards per pass, not even 15. That's not very deep. UCLA jumped the route once, got the interception. They could have done it a lot more. They let them catch it in front of them because UCLA is so quick. UCLA is really quick. And that's the thing. And they swarm tackle you like bees going after honey. They'll swarm tackle. They let them catch those balls. And then whenever, Max tried to throw deep, he couldn't do it. Because A, we're quick down the sideline, and B, he's not good. He doesn't have a strong enough arm. So, my dad used to say, throw quick passes to move down the field. That's what he was doing, but you can only do that for so long. You got to throw the big bombs. If you don't drop the bombs, flying the plane around, don't win you the war. You got to drop a few bombs. And you know what? He couldn't do it. He's not that good. That's why he's the second. Two. What do you think, Rob?
Well, I think it's important that our Southeastern Conference fans, they need to be reminded every once in a while that football does not begin and stop in that area of the country. Yeah, the college football is composed of a national landscape. There's not a Power 1 conference. There's a Power 5 conference because there's 5 power conferences. Mm-hmm. And the teams within these other power conferences, they have unbelievable histories, unbelievable traditions, massive followings, and are not, the sisters of the poor type schools. And you saw that. You went to the Rose Bowl, LSU. You played a Power 5 team and you got beat. You got, California love. The West Coast just stepped up. Okay. College football has been played a long time in other places before them. I mean, LSU's been playing since 93. Well, Syracuse has you beat by 4 or 5 years there. Okay. These programs and these schools matter within the landscape. Now, is the SEC without question the best conference in college football? No argument there. And I think you'd be foolish to try to argue that that's not the case, considering what they've accomplished, the merits. It's there. They get the most draft picks. They got the most titles in the past 20 years, I believe. I think that's accurate. And they're always right there. And they have those juggernaut programs at the top. SEC is number 1. But you're not light years ahead of everybody else, okay? You're not in this vast galaxy of a difference when it comes to winning games. And you saw that. Chip Kelly is one of the best coaches in the college game. He had Oregon as a power. Oregon. Power. Right? Now he's got the reins at UCLA, and you could see that was a well-coached team. LSU, you guys got out-coached. I'm a little concerned that maybe some LSU fans are jumping the gun a bit on their head coach. Ed Orgeron won you guys a title 2 years ago. You guys were an unbelievable team. That team was unreal. Okay, you had the COVID year. You lost all that talent. Things are shaking up. Give the guy a moment to recalibrate. Okay,
right.
We predicted. Bob says you're going to be 9-3. I'm going 8-4. Okay, 8-9 wins is not the end of the universe. It's not where you expect to be long LSU. But you're not going to have a losing season. So
no.
Both UCLA and LSU can't put too much emphasis on this game. They both have to move on and focus on the next opponent and the rest of their season.
Right.
That being said, I do hope, Bob, that we at least showed that this pick at least was not some crazy, outlandish, insane pick. We were proven right, and I'm glad to see some of the commenters come back to own that up.
Right. Oh, no. Look, they're going to be good, Rob. But you know what? After watching them, I was thinking about it again. We actually may have been the better team, and I'll tell you why. Because we did so many. It's only one game, I get it. But they have a serious defensive problem. Look, they gave up 35 a game last year. We scored 38 and could have been 45. Nothing's really changed. And this nonsense about we have new coaches. Okay. New coaches get hired all the time. A lot of them aren't good. That doesn't mean anything. They had new defensive and offensive coaches, I believe, coordinators, right? But, you don't know what that means. That could be good. That could be bad. But right now, that team can't stop anybody. That's a big problem. We can, and we scored enough to win. We have a couple of really great backs, The thing is, like, Charbonneau and Brown are really good. One was from Duke, one was from Michigan. And, they were telling us, no way we're going to run all over them. Well, yeah, okay, they were right. Charbonneau didn't. They both did this time, not just one. They both had close to 100. One had over 100, 117, Charbonneau. And I looked at two different stats. One said Brown had like 95. The other one said 78. But no, they pretty much torched, your defense. And you have a problem on offense. You got to open it up a little because the short pass, especially now the others have films, they're going to start jumping those routes and you're going to have big time trouble. We only did it once. We could have done it more, but we just let you catch it and knock you senseless once you did, if you caught it at all. And you know what? The one touchdown you got that you have, was it his name? What's the wide receiver's name? Butte, is that his name?
Yes, I believe so. We may have butchered that name, but
yeah, we might have butchered it.
You're close.
Right. He's really good. Like, he's the best wide receiver you have. Those other guys are just okay. But even with that, you had two touchdowns. The only reason you got the third one, when that ball was thrown over the middle, the referee made the best block of the game for you guys because he took our defensive back out, which sprung the guy. And that's why he scored the TD. But or you wouldn't have scored it. I'll tell you right now. But that kid's good, though. But you do have some serious problems. You had no running game. How about that? 1 yard rushing at the end of the first quarter and only 3 yards rushing at halftime. You couldn't. I knew you guys weren't going to get around the end. We're too damn fast. And like I said to Rob before, we gang tackle. So the minute you get that ball, the minute you get stopped this much, I need to see my hand or not. But the minute you get stopped this much, the rest of the team's going to, boom, come in and close the job and tackle you. Can you see me, Rob?
I see, Bob. We have a couple questions from a commenter live.
Okay.
It's Steven Bergeron. If you remember, he commented on the other video, and he had a couple of points to say. Basically, here's his comments. Okay, Bob, UCLA will never be in the BCS. UCLA ain't going all the way.
Neither is LSU.
The BCS. UCLA will never be in the BCS. BCS is all that matters. When UCLA wins the BCS, that's when you can talk the talk.
Okay. Well, wait a minute.
What is the BCS he's referring to? Because old model that doesn't exist anymore.
Well, wait a minute. Now that does all the playoff stuff don't matter. But like, you were the one bragging about winning and how this all matters and how you're going to go to the BCS or whatever, now it's the playoff Final Four, whatever you want to call it.
Playoff. The BCS is dead. It's because it doesn't exist anymore, Stephen.
Right.
That was the old way of crowning a title. The top 2 voted teams. We have a playoff now. You know that, right? Maybe you're confused BCS with the playoff. I don't know.
I understand what he meant, though.
Yeah, the title.
Right, the title. We'll just stop with the title. But you know what? You're not going to go to the Final Four of football either now. Because if you lose one more game and Bama's beating you ain't making it. And you might lose other games along the way unless you fix that defense. You might. You're going to win games, but you're going to lose them. And you know what? Don't ever say never about going to the Final Four. Don't ever say it. Did you think our basketball team was going to get to the Final Four this past year? Because we almost won it. And we got hope. Oh, if I say that, then I'm making excuses. But we did get hosed at the end. That was a blocking foul. And they called an offensive charge. And Gonzaga should not have beat. If they got lucky with the 3-point shot, they hit at the buzzer.
Look, the fact remains, if UCLA can carry this momentum and run the table, take out the Pac-12, they're going to the playoff. They will go.
They will go.
That's if they do it.
And you know what? The Pac-12 is not so great. There was a lot of teams yesterday, even SC, they struggled for a while.
The Pac-12, UCLA was the crowning champion of the Pac-12 yesterday, Bob. The Pac-12 did not have a good day.
Right.
Washington suffered its worst loss in school history.
Right.
And there was another team that went down, I believe, to an FCS school, maybe.
Did Arizona win last night?
Arizona lost to BYU.
They did.
I think Cal lost. The Pac-12 did not show except for that UCLA game. UCLA was the only one that showed up.
I'll tell you what, and SC won, but they were struggling late against San Jose State, I think it was. That game, they pulled away late, but they took a long time to pull away.
So, to me,
that's concerning.
UCLA has to be based on what we've seen in 2 weeks, UCLA has to be the front runner at this point. It's very early, 10 games to go, but as it stands, I think we have a front runner established.
Right. It's funny how we jumped to this game means everything and UCLA's nothing. So, you ain't that good. It's no big deal.
And you're not going to win at all. I mean, that's where he's at now. That's the place he's at.
Yeah,
it's
I know.
Okay.
That's okay. LSU's not either, Junior. I'd love to tell you that, but you're not.
I mean, I get it. You talked a lot of smack. You know, you were laying your claims down. You got the rug pulled from under you guys. I get it. It's okay.
That's right. And we totally dominated you guys.
Absolutely dominated. They were the better team, no doubt about it. No question.
It took a while. You know, there was no score. I guess midway or into the second, maybe even late. And you guys finally scored. And I knew you would. I knew you were going to score because we kept not being able to sustain drives. And then when he threw the interception, that set you up for your score. I knew you were going to score on that drive. But what you didn't know was on the next play, all great teams do this. I'm not saying we're great, but great teams do what they did last night. He threw the bomb on the first play. You get that right back to our future NFL star. By the way, the tight end's going to the NFL. And he wasn't fast, but he had some nifty moves. He was wide open, and he burned your bat. And we burned your bat deep all night, by the way. That's another thing. Before you know it, one play, 7-7. Then you guys didn't do anything. We got the ball back. We had 14-7, and we never gave the lead up the rest of the game. You had to play catch-up, and you couldn't catch up. And you're lucky you got 28 points, to be totally honest. Like I said, the referee threw a great block. And even with that, and I understand, I believe Max was 26 out of 46, but that's not very good. And he had 330 yards, but the truth is, you throw that many times, you're going to get over 300 yards. Usually, a quarterback that gets over 300 yards, especially in the NFL, loses the game. And so did this guy. 20 incompletions is not good. And he threw interception, too. So that's not good. And you know what? I know why he's the backup. He can't throw deep. I know. I'm a Chiefs fan. Anti-Alex Smith. I wanted him out for years. The minute we get Mahomes, he can throw deep. Alex can't throw deep. He can't throw the ball 15 yards, just like your quarterback didn't last night. And that's why they never won. They would even lose games at home in playoffs, Kansas City, that they should have won. This is what it is. You got a good team. I'd give them maybe a B-. You're better than average. That's for sure. C to me is average. But you're not an A team. And like I said, just because you're in a good conference doesn't mean you're the best team in that conference. It doesn't. And
it doesn't mean your conference is, miles long better than the other power conferences either.
No, because you know what? For years in basketball, Rob, we know it. The ACC was Duke and North Carolina, but the rest of the ACC was lousy a lot of years. But because they're in the ACC, all of a sudden Wake Forest is great. No, they were only great when Tim Duncan was there. The other years they stunk. All of a sudden NC State, no, Monty Tao and David Thompson won in 75, haven't won since. So don't give me that bunk. There are elite teams that make the conferences better, but it doesn't mean every team in the conference is elite. LSU.
You had an SEC team lost to an SEC team lost to an FCS team yesterday, Bob.
Right.
Did you hear that? An SEC team yesterday fell, blown out by an FCS squad. Tennessee State over Vanderbilt. And yes, Vanderbilt is part of the SEC. It counts. It's part of the conference.
It does count.
Missouri counts. Nebraska counts. I'm sorry, Nebraska's not in the SEC, but Missouri counts. Vanderbilt counts.
Right.
Mississippi State, Arkansas, they all count. They're all part of the conference. They're not separate. Yes, you have Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Auburn. We know LSU.
Right.
But you also have other teams that aren't that good. They're okay, but they're not that good.
And you know what it was? I think what you have to understand is what I told you guys in the beginning. You thought because I put this on, can you see it?
I see it, Bob. Look at that. Look at that powder blue and gold hat.
You thought because I thought because I put that on and was wearing that I was all UCLA and I wasn't thinking, what was right. And
they
what was
had not watched any other episodes of our show or saw the guest. They just popped in on that video.
Right. And everybody thought, I'm just being emotional because I love that team and I'm not going to. No, that's what you guys thought about LSU. I was giving it to you straight. I really believed the time was right for the upset, and it happened. And don't forget about the home field, home court in basketball, home field in football, whatever it is, home field in baseball. It makes for a big difference. I would not have gone out on a limb and said we would have went to LSU and won. I wouldn't have been that dumb. And I love UCLA. I wouldn't have been that dumb. And that's what I'm trying to teach you guys. This is a teaching show. I'm trying to get you over that nonsense. You know, I mean, we're not all 12 years old here anymore. Well, maybe there are 12-year-olds listening out there. Who knows? But no, like, you got to get over that. You just got to realize what's right. I know you don't want to admit it, but, you know, every year only one team wins. And it doesn't matter how good you are. The rest of the teams, they don't win. It don't matter. That's what Derek Jeter said one time, who we're going to see this week. Somebody asked him the minute they lost a playoff game, it got eliminated one year. Well, you had a great season, and Jeter almost hit him with the microphone. He was like, how can you say that? We just got eliminated. It was a terrible year. That's the difference between winners and people that are just imagining they're good. That's the difference. But, you know, what are you going to do?
And there you have it, folks.
Yeah.
But LSU is probably going to be, for all intents and purposes, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to fall off the cliff and go on to some big losing streak or what have you. But you're just not where you were 2 years ago. Doesn't mean you can't get back there down the road.
Right.
Like I said, you guys hammered home the fact that, you know, top five recruiting class. It's going to pay dividends. Even if coaching is subpar, if you have that much talent, you're going to win games. I would be cautious to be ready to dismiss Ed Odron in year 3.
I agree.
I take it back. It wasn't his third year, but you had given everything you lost in coinciding with the COVID episode. Okay, the coaches, everything, this big shuffle, just give him another. Next year, you guys probably are going to be vastly improved, and I expect you to improve over the course of this year.